So I was down in the quarters last night, and this cello player came up to me, and I think her name was Leanne or something. She said, "Butler, you gotta meet this cat. There's one cool cat. His name's like Arthur something. Hardy? I don't know. You ever met him?"
Heard he's an asshole.
He's an asshole. Well, how I've heard you described is pretty far from asshole.
Good.
And yeah, well, now, me, I'm not so sure, but you've been described as like affable and approachable and this encyclopedic wealth of knowledge.
Well, that's nice.
I didn't write that, man. Well, after today, maybe I'll come up with some adjectives.
There you go.
But, we met as celebrity judges, which, I mean, at least one of us was a celebrity in it. And it was for the Mandy Milkshakers. And
yeah, a couple of years ago, huh?
A couple of years ago, like 3 years ago. And they were doing their tryouts. And I sat next to you.
That was a trip.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't know they were going to give us microphones, and we were supposed to be funny.
Yeah, no one told me anything.
No one told me either.
I think you stole the show that day.
I think you did. The gentleman next to us was with the 610 Stompers, and they kind of roast.
Yeah.
Their members. Now, this was an all-female group,
right.
So it would be somewhat, conscious of that. But there was one thing, I'll never forget this. He said, because, you're trying to get to know people other than their routine, right? You might ask like Star Trek or Star Wars and just kind of see what they say. And but the guy next to me was like, his question to the girl was, if you were to draw a bath for Arthur Hardy, would you make it like hot, lukewarm, or cold, or something like that? I literally, my face just on the table.
Well, we were not the highlights of that day. It was those women. And what a perfect example of how Mardi Gras has grown and improved. 10, 15 years ago, middle-aged women that might be a little bit overweight didn't have a chance in the world of participating in Mardi Gras unless they paid dues and rode on a float.
At which their options were very limited.
Yeah,
it was
very
just
much so.
Iris, and
Yeah, but now it's open to so many different. And why can't big girls have fun? I mean, it's just a great group, and the competition, people who want to be a part of this. I was blown away at it. It was a fun afternoon.
I was blown away too. Also, I was after the second year, and I watched all the interviews, and then I was curious to see who won. And, it was cool. And then one thing, so I'm involved with Crew Boo, as you know, and during Mardi Gras, you have there's like 120 something parades and 60 of these newer marching groups.
Maybe more.
Maybe more. And it's cool that during Mardi Gras, they're spread out so much. And they're doing this like every day. Whereas with Halloween, there's only us, right?
Sure.
So I've had all these interactions. We just had it last weekend about where we have competitions up at Spanish Plaza. And so I've gotten to know these groups, specifically Mandy Milkshakers that we were talking about. It's really incredible. They do not go by looks. It's really about like civic duty.
And they want to do this. It's not like, oh, I've got to go parade tonight. Shit, it's like I can't wait to get dressed and go. Hop on the bus. They've got their own bus.
Yeah, they have a huge red bus.
It's like it is a business of sorts. But I always hesitate to use the terms business and Mardi Gras in the same sentence, but it is a business. You have to run it like one in order to be able to do the things you want to do. It takes time, organization, money, leadership.
It takes a little bit of money.
But when you just see it on the street, it's just pure joy. And I think it's one of the best innovations in Carnival since I've been covering it. Is these new groups, these new alternative preseason parades.
Mostly female.
Yeah, but got parades like Chewbacca's. I mean, it just wonderful, the quantity and quality and artistry that they bring, and they're not in competition with the traditional crews. They complement them in my mind.
Completely. And most of them don't have floats, right?
No, they don't.
And they can get pretty wild.
It's like Mardi Gras at its most organic.
Yeah.
This is how it started. Before we had floats and parades, people on the street. I had a friend who theorized that the first Mardi Gras parade was just marchers in costumes walking to a masquerade ball. coming down the street. Hey, that's like a parade of itself, you know.
Yeah, so most people don't. I think most people even here don't realize that. You would know the answer most likely, but I would say most crews or don't have parades.
It's
Or
probably,
don't have
well, I don't know if
floats
it's
and all
most,
that.
but I'd have to do a numerical analysis of that. But you know, every parading crew does a ball.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of crews that have balls that do not, and you got to be
Parade.
careful with that. Crews that have balls. Yeah, I know. The men used to hold their balls at the municipal auditorium. Well, where do they hold them now? You know, I always say stage their balls, not held their balls. But anyway.
Yeah, it's the tableau, right?
Yeah. But they were balls before there were parades, and then simultaneously, and there's another interesting part of all of this. To be an official Mardi Gras parade in Orleans Parish, and to get an official Mardi Gras parade permit, you must parade within the 12 days before Fat Tuesday. Anything else is a preseason parade and is not controlled by the Mardi Gras ordinance, which has some very strict rules. That's why the Crew de Vue can get away with some of the...
Because it's before the 12 days.
Because it's not an official Mardi Gras parade.
So they just need a permit to parade.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And the bad news about that is they have to pay for police protection, whereas the city underwrites the real parades. So
Yeah. Well, we're aware of that with Halloween because we don't fall under that.
Exactly.
So it gives the city opportunity, and I'm not speaking specifically of Caribou, just what I know, to say, well, your sanitation rates just went up, you know. So with police, my understanding is during Mardi Gras, the police have to work.
Yes.
Right. Whereas 12 days before, it sounds like, or Caribou, or anything that's outside of that, you have to hire and overtime and all that.
Now, there's a real constitutional question there about can the city legally set up two different classifications of citizens, ones that the city funds, ones that you have to fund yourself. I don't think anyone's ever challenged it in court, but parading is not a privilege, it's a right according to the Constitution, freedom of expression, First Amendment. And I predict sometime in the future...
To assemble, right?
You're going to see a lawsuit saying, Crew de Vue can't pay more than Crew of Bacchus for a parade permit. We shall see. Could be interesting.
I mean, this would assume that New Orleans is going to actually think about anything. You know, I'm not so sure about that.
I'm going to try to be apolitical in our talk.
Yeah, your situation here is a little bit different than mine.
Yeah. There's a lot of people I can't afford to piss off, but that being said,
listen, you're fucking old, okay? So you can say pretty much whatever you want. I might actually have to go work for some people in the future, and they might have access to this.
Yeah, well, and I need information from all these people. So anyway, it's somewhat of a tightrope, I guess. But this thing that we do is just, it's so hard to describe. I work in television. It really doesn't make for great television because Mardi Gras is not the parade. It's all.
Yeah, we were talking about the camera eye earlier.
Yeah, it's everything around it. It really doesn't make for great TV. You need to be there, and it's just a very hard thing to describe. You do your best. You tell people, and you can still see a blank look on their faces if they've never been here. And once they come, I mean, you can always spot tourists at a Mardi Gras parade in the first three floors. Oh, look, by the fifth floor, they're beating the shit out of people with umbrellas.
Oh, yeah, trying to get beads out of liquids of dubious origin.
Yeah, exactly. And it has to be experienced to be understood. And even then, we don't understand it.
I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah. You might even still be trying to figure it out.
I am. It's a terrible business model when you think about what's required to be in a parade. You have to, first of all, find out how to join a group. They'll be invited.
If you can even.
And if you do get invited, okay, I've got to pay dues. And what do I get? Maybe you get a costume. You may have to pay for that.
Maybe.
You're required to spend hundreds, thousands of dollars for throws. Then we put you in a mask and a costume so nobody knows who you are, and you got to give all this shit away to strangers. What kind of business model is that?
One that's not for profit.
Yeah, no, it's not
non-profit. Just you're not trying to make money.
Yeah, and and I've told the story a million times. I was talking at a convention once, and tried to explain the whole deal. The guy put his hand up. He said, you know, looking at this, it seems to me it's almost like if you came to New York and you wanted to go see a Broadway play, and you got your hand in your pocket ready to buy your tickets, and the actors came off the stage. No, it's on us. It's free.
Yeah.
But don't leave, because we have gifts for everybody here to take home.
Yeah.
And I said, man, you got it. That's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
And he said, but it doesn't make any sense. I said, oh, it doesn't have to.
No.
This is who we are. This is what we do.
It's the definition of culture.
Yeah,
the word.
we enjoy having fun and spreading joy.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. In its clearest, simplest form, that's what it is, spreading joy. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. You, and here, if you wouldn't mind, just get a little closer to the mic.
Okay.
It's interesting. I've literally seen people get off the plane at the airport, and not me, but someone else. Are like, "Where's the Mardi Gras?" You know, drive this way, can't miss it.
Yeah, exactly.
It is super interesting. Where we are now, I live in what's called the Box. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yes.
And I don't think most people realize the extent. Okay, so there's the cruise, right? Not a good business model. Yeah. Choosing to live in the Box doesn't seem to make sense. Because you literally can't get in or out, right? And then even if you do move your car, you it doesn't mean you're going to be able to get back. And you might be 10 blocks away with your groceries.
Parades do inconvenience a large segment of the population, but we do it anyway.
Well,
right?
you know, it's great. I mean,
Yeah.
and a lot of times people will thank you, like, oh, thanks for, when they see like the amount of effort that goes in, or just, you know, pain. And then we have our cones. Do you recommend people move cones during Mardi Gras Jazz Fest?
I don't recommend anything that time of year. It's let everybody do the best they can and hope for the best. You know, it's meter maids. Sometimes they enforce the law. I got ticketed on a side street about 8 blocks off the parade route 2 years ago for being, I think it was like 19 and a half feet from the curb, from the crosswalk, and you got to be 20 feet.
Yeah.
So, come on. You know, that's not a safety. That's a bullshit. We got your thing. But other times, I've parked illegally, no problem.
Yeah, totally. Supposedly, there's no quotas on things like that.
Right.
Well, so, you know, my family owned a printing company for half a century, and they would bring us back these books that were like, if I remember correctly, it was like maybe 80% used and 20% not. And they're just like, no, we have to get these reprinted so that, you know, we meet our quotas of how many pieces of paper in the book. That
Come on.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. And, you know, our city we're not a very wealthy city. We're not rich. So we need to get the money from somewhere.
Yep.
Right? So, all right. So, affable, encyclopedic knowledge. We were speaking just a little while ago. I'm super interested, and this podcast has evolved into this organic. I'm very interested in energy. There seems to be this overarching theme. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about the energy that's this buzz, right, that happens. So there's that. And then also health and AI. I'm really curious, since you are a couple years older than me, like you've experienced some stuff in life. And I'm just curious maybe about technology and how it's affected Mardi Gras. I can think of a couple things like fiber, right, fiber optics. But then also what your thoughts are. I mean, they say everyone's going to lose their job. I think if there's anything left in the world after these robots get smarter than us, it might be Mardi Gras and things like that.
I hope so. You know, technology needs to be embraced. It's not going to go away. So I'm hoping AI can help, but we don't know yet. I mean, the internet could have killed my business. You know, print in general is in decline.
Sure.
And the information I provide is available from multitudes of other sources now.
I don't know about that.
Well, maybe not the depth of content and context that I think we bring to it, but still, you can get parade maps on your phone. You can get them on the internet. And that's why our publications evolve to be more than a parade guide.
Right.
But that came out of necessity over time, but what AI? I'm more worried about AI in terms of photography than I am anything else. I saw something on Facebook the other day, a tombstone, photography 1827, 2025, you know, the death of photography.
Right.
That you can't believe any picture you see now.
Anything.
You really can't. I mean,
Especially with this political season we came out of. How do you... Look, Arthur, I'm not entirely sure you and I are even real. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we here?
Well, I think I saw a picture the other day of you in Dealey Plaza in 1963
Oh, is that what it was?
with the rifle. Yeah, I mean, and it looked so real, but I don't think you were there. But I know
Is that
better.
what the knock at my door was the other night?
But I know better. What about someone who doesn't? Oh,
Sure.
well, that was true. Oswald didn't do it alone. You know, I mean, it's frightening, but
It's frightening.
It's not going to go away. So we have to figure out how to. I hate to use the word control, but some measure of reason and judgment needs to be imposed. Another word I don't like. You know, if you don't, you almost invite governmental control. It's the same thing in Mardi Gras. If the crews behave themselves, there's no reason for 500 rules.
Sure.
But if they don't, you're inviting this jurisdictional approach that we can. I mean, where would that end? I heard a suggestion from a city councilman that the city council ought to have a right to preview and assess the validity of parade themes. Well, that's
What?
bullshit. You can't do that.
These are private organizations.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where does that end? So I don't know. It's a little scary, but we're too early in the game to really predict this is going to be good, this is going to be bad. I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
So I've been interested in it, right? And this theme kind of came about. And there's this company called NOLA AI, and they're having a seminar, and I went to it about a month and a half ago. And it was, the first part was the history of AI, and the second part is the future of AI. And I was like, well, I'll just go there and learn some stuff so I can talk to people when they come in. And their chief scientist and inventor scientists are both going to be on the podcast. Like, so I've been spending the past month and a half with them. And AI is so confusing, it's really neat to have people that are very much on the inside.
Yeah.
Health-related AI, and to have them explain this to me. So, like, one of my questions is, like, what's going to happen? How long? I mean, do we have to worry about bad robots?
Yeah, well.
I think we do.
Yeah.
Now, what they would tell you is that through efficiency and wanting to stay alive, it's kind of like a circle like this. So let's say on the outside you have bad stuff. Well, the AI, because efficiency is the name of the game, it's always going to stay in the middle, because the shortest point to anything to the outside is from the middle. And I just thought that was an interesting way to do it.
Yeah. Well, we shall see.
Or maybe it'll just... I don't know. Look, Arthur, I'm not concerned about China or Russia or Cuba or Venezuela. Like, nothing. I'm concerned about AI. I really am.
Well, I think we should be. Healthy skepticism is a good thing, you know.
Yeah. Let's talk. You mentioned earlier about, I don't remember if this was before we started, but Katrina. You were, like, probably the biggest advocate for Warren Easton High School, and
yes, my alma mater. Yeah. And it took on Canal. It's on Canal Street. It's actually, Warren Easton High is the oldest public school in Louisiana.
Really?
It's founded in 1843. Uptown, moved a couple of times. It split off into 2 schools, then 4, then back into 2, then back into 1. It was called Boys High until 1913, and it moved to Canal Street, to its present site.
Okay.
Took on about 8 feet of water during Katrina. And it was a good chance.
Only 8 feet?
Yeah, and it was a good chance that it was not going to reopen. And I was on a Hall of Fame committee that started in 1991, and we got word that there was a movement afoot for the school board to not rehabilitate the building, but instead of keeping it a school, selling it and making, because they needed the money, making condominiums out of it.
Oh.
And a group of, now the school's 100% black.
Right.
It was all white when I was there by law. It was segregated. So a group of us 10 old white dudes said, you're not going to close our school, and petitioned the school board to make let us be the charter operators of it. And I think by a 4-3 vote, they said, go ahead, which we were surprised. And then we said, oh, shit, now
we have to do it.
You know, we're going to run a school. Anyway, long story short, we did open it, and with a lot of help, and eventually it became one of the better open admission public schools in the whole state.
That's wonderful.
More than 2,000 applicants every year for about 300 spots. They had 100% graduation for 10 years in a row.
What?
It's in the low 90s now. Real success story. And it's a great, I think it's the greatest comeback story, other than the Saints perhaps,
Wow.
of the whole Katrina epic.
That was a pretty fantastic game against Atlanta.
Yeah, oh man.
It was just off the hook.
You know, I saw it on TV. I wasn't there. I used to have season tickets, but not by that time. But yeah, but anyway, it's a great school. And one of the benefactors of the school is Sandra Bullock,
Yeah.
with whom I've become friends. And
Yeah.
she was just terrific. Came in at a time we needed a cheerleader
I remember that.
and some money.
Well.
And she supplied both.
She has some, international influence.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
people-
She was almost going to donate anonymously, but said, maybe, I think she said, maybe I can use my celebrity to.
Bring some attention.
Yeah, and I said,
Yeah.
you think? Yes, indeed. So
No, don't do that,
Yeah.
Sandra. Do not.
Yeah.
Please.
So
don't throw me in the briar patch.
we owe her a lot.
Yeah. And there's actors and actresses, and you're like, and then there's some that are just like, they're awesome, and she's one of those people. You can just tell that she's a genuinely nice person.
She really is. She's very smart and very funny and very unassuming. And, the kids will ask her can I have your autograph? And she says, no, go get a teacher's autograph or a policeman.
Somebody important, right?
Yeah, no, really. And she means that. In fact, she was inducted as an honorary member of our